Hello everyone and welcome to today's Sunday Q&A, which today is brought to you on Friday afternoon at 3 o'clock, recorded from Berth 26, the paper hub at Tilbury Docks, where I've currently been sitting for 3/4 of an hour, which is brilliant. I told you, George, you think, should I take on this one? I was done in Hoddesdon, and then it was like, and then I thought, well, get this one, it's got to drop on Monday morning, and I've got a couple lined up after that. And then, of course, sure enough, after that, there were plenty of St Albans to St Albans or St Albans to Hemel Hempstead. I'm like, oh. But if I hadn't have taken it, they wouldn't have come up. So, anyhow, here's what it is. So if I have to cut this one short because the guy says, right, you ready to load? You won't see it, in which case the whole thing will be totally academic and I'll have to record it another time. So what we got today, the introduction, this was to Daniel. We gave you a shout out last week, mate, but he said, Pete, how's it going? I'm the guy who loaded you at Rajpack at Milton Keynes. Thank you for taking the time to chat. Daniel, no problem at all, my friend. Thank you for loading me so well. And he was told me the idea of getting on the exchange. If you come on the exchange, you know where we are. Any questions, I'll ask the people that know. Right, so this week's fuel prices. TWUMF, the short TWUMF, seems to be getting some kind of traction. It seems to be useful. So I kind of figure I'm going to stick with it. So I think the plan is, I'm probably going to wait till Monday morning because I want to get your prices in too, as well as mine. So if you can send me, please, in the comments on the Sunday Q&A, what your fuel prices are for the week, and that way we can compare and contrast, because otherwise I'm just telling everybody mine, and mine not be all that, shut that window, mine might not be all that great. So, but we're coming back, last week, for example, you can look at last week's TWUMF if you want to. With Bluetooth connected. Connection. Yeah, okay. But last week Lee's were UK Fuels 110, All Star 109. He said, you're so right about UK Fuels. I've been using them for 3 weeks and they've always been the cheapest. Now they're the most expensive. He said, I won't be using until they go down again. Fuel cards work on 2 different systems. Some of them just give you a price. This is our price, and some of them give them a tailored price to you, which they will try to, they're looking to maximise profits. They're running a business. It's not a moral crusade, it's a business. Just be aware of the card that you've got, and just, if you want to look at TWUMF, you can compare and contrast. You can use the ones that you need to do. Right, so the main video this week was on best truck. Now, the video was a bit vague. I've got to be honest with you, because there's no real frame of reference. I suppose there are tests that you can do on which is the quickest, which is the best one. Is it the best truck for what reason? Which is something we'll come to. But anyway, this is what you had to say about it. So, Steve Diggle says, the best lorry to drive or the best lorry as an owner-driver are 2 different things. Now, me and Nick have spoke about this, transport manager, Nick the Urban Trucker, and he agrees totally, yeah. He said, I used to have a DAF XF 530 tractor unit. It was bomb-proof. The newer DAF's not so good. Apparently, I think there's a bit in between, like between 2018 and 2022, where they have a tendency to throw crankshafts, which is not brilliant, or camshafts and all kinds of stuff. He said, I bought an Iveco Stralis, 3.5 years old, with 300,000 K on it. Paid 27 grand. I am now 6 years in. It has done 650 K and it's not given me 1 minute of trouble. Whoever tell me these trucks are bad, Iveco, I vibrate, everything comes off, are bad, do not listen to them. They rattle, and yes, they pull together, but they're not as well put together as Scanias or Volvos. But when do you see an Iveco on the back of a wrecker? That's probably because there's not that many of them on the road, though. I did think this. I thought, well, that's a fair point. But if only 1 in 10 trucks on the lorry is an Iveco, then you're 1 in 10 likely to see them on the back of a wrecker if they're as good as everything else. But it's true, you don't see them. You may see smaller stuff, but you don't see the tractor units. For the money, I cannot fault it. And that's Steve's, what Steve said. Nick, the Urban Trucker, I spoke to him about it. He says, the thing about Ivecos is people knock them. And yes, a few bits and pieces go wrong. He said, but the engines are brilliant. He said, if you look after the engine in an Iveco truck, it will do 1,000,000 miles standing on its head. They are bomb-proof. Are they the nicest lorry and it's the point. There's a big difference between the nicest lorry to drive, the most reliable lorry, the cheapest lorry. I mean, what happens if you might love the lorry to drive as a driver, but as an owner, you look at it on the book and you go, this lorry's costing me a fortune. Every time it goes wrong, the parts are 3 times as much as anything else. So it is that. So Shane Hardy says, I'd love to drive a DAF truck. He said, they look nice, or maybe a man. Kenny FM says the 26-ton DAF, because I've got this thing about DAF cup holders, I have got to screw things. They've got them like a half moon crescent. It's almost designed to make the coffee, the mug fall over. I've had to screw cup holders in to stop them falling over. He said the 26-ton DAF has great cup holders. Makes you wonder why they don't put them in every model. Also, with like the Mercs and stuff, you don't get a big bottle. There's a thing now. So you slide it down into the door with this. Just got a normal bit. I mean, why do people not think of this stuff? We have to spend our lives in these vehicles. Petrolhead says, to declare that Mercs and VWs are the most reliable vans is based on what? These two are the most unreliable vehicles you can buy usually, so what suddenly makes them bulletproof? So I think the bottom line is this. It comes down to personal experience. Nick said, I hate DAFs. He said, because I had 2 DAFs and both of them were nothing but trouble. I swear by Scanias. There was another guy there who said Renaults. I forget where that went. Did that disappear? Someone said, well, Renaults were great. No, my ex-transport agent, Daniel Garumba, would say, avoid Renaults like the plague. He said, leave the French to what they're good at, smoking cigarettes and drinking champagne. But that's massively stereotypical there. But it just comes down to personal preference. When we had the firm, we had 4 DAFs and 1 Merc, and the Merc went wrong more than the DAFs. And the DAFs had parts that were readily available. Part of the problem with the Iveco is the parts can be really difficult to get hold of. I've got a DAFs HTC in Dunstable. I've got one in Hemel Hempstead. But I've now got a large dealership, a Merc dealership in Dunstable. It just comes down. I think at the end of the day, when you come to buy your van or lorry, it jumps out at you. You go, there's that one, that one, that one. Hang on, there's one here. Not quite what I was looking for, but it's really good and the price is right and the miles are low. I'll give that one a go. And after that, it's luck of the draw. Even the brand new motors, Mark was telling me, I think I've said this before, Shaw's have bought a recovery truck. They've spent 150 grand on this recovery truck. He said it's been on the road about 2 weeks and about 3 months. And it's to do with the central locking. You hit the central locking, if both doors open, it's fine. Both doors open, it's fine. If one door opens, it won't start. And they don't know why. It's just luck of the draw. End of the day, we can all go, this truck's better, that man's better, this truck's better. It really does come down to you. You know, keep your fingers crossed, hold your nose and jump. Right, miscellaneous. 7C says, we're talking about speed cameras now. This comes up quite a bit. He says, I don't care what anybody says. The areas where they have variable speed cameras and the speed limits changing several times over a short distance are designed purely to catch people out. He said, I've just got done for straying over the limit. To be honest, I'm only doing it to avoid the points. That's why everybody does it. They know that. They work on the fact you're doing it to avoid the points, and they work on the principle you might learn something while you're there. He said, I've been driving for nearly 50 years almost. Car, bus, HGV, motorcycle. I'm an advanced certificate fairly recently, I know, and I know when it's safe or not. The whole thing is complete, and there's a word there I can't say, in my opinion, backed up by the fact that statistics prove that despite the cameras and the billions wasted on traffic calming schemes, accident rates haven't significantly changed at all. I don't know if that's true. When I go on the course, they go, it has fallen down a bit. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. He said, well, mainly because we're human and humans always make errors, and also because the vast majority of accidents have nothing to do with speeding. I've been involved in several minor incidents over the years. Every single one was due to drivers not paying attention and running into me. That's probably true. Rear-ended at lights, cutting corners, trying to squeeze through gaps I was unable to physically fit through. You name it, but not speeding. It's just a cash cow. Incidentally, here we go. Statistics also show that there's very little difference between the percentage of drivers who reoffend and those who don't after taking the course. I have done 3 courses. So therefore, I have reoffended twice after doing the course. not on purpose, it just happened. So obviously it doesn't work, but then probably been devised by someone sat at a desk in front of a computer based on statistics rather than actual driving in the real world. I wonder if they can claim the money back from the course if you're not satisfied. It is what it is, mate. We must comply. We live in a world where we must comply, and it is take the course or take the points. Some of you'll take the course. It's just what we do. Yeah, that's it. And finally this week, because I'll get it out in case they call me in a minute, and then I'll have to re-record it, which means I'd like to try and get it finished on a Friday so I can get a jump on a weekend. That's not happening this week. David in the HGV says, Pete, an interesting video would be a profit or loss account this year. Would be interesting to see your general breakdown income expenditure. Dave, I know you've asked before, mate. The thing is, I haven't done a year yet. But actually, I have. September the 10th, I've been running for exactly a year. That was my first job, which was HPC, when I got in a lorry for the first time in More Lights on the Christmas tree, just trying to get myself back in the game. I've been back in the game for a year now, so the next plan is get Tiffany's up for MOT middle sort of 20 I think it's the 20 something of September. Got to get the glass done. Don't need to. It's got a crack in it. It's legal, but I don't care. I want it done. Get that all done, all tidied in, and then it's head down for Christmas. And of course, the birth of baby Eli, who is due, as this is coming out on Sunday, 3 weeks today. We're having a race. Can I hit 10,000 subscribers before baby Eli is born? We shall see. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to put your fuel prices down. We need the fuel prices for twumph. Take care. Take money.